Hello, audience. This is, basically reminiscing about a pit bull from my childhood named Chuck. And I'll go, and Chuck, well, back when I was a kid, we lived, I think it was County Road 90 in Riceville, Tennessee. It was like an all-dirt road at the time, and, anyway, there's this couple, that owned a cabin way, down on the, end of the road, and, Hubert and Dora, and also, there was this elderly man that lived down the hill in a brick house, and his name was Roy Kinslow, and Roy Kinslow was actually Dora's dad. Yeah. It's Hubert and Dora that live in the cabin, of course. They're still there last I knew, and think they're probably around maybe early 90s by now. But way back in the 80s, we moved to Tennessee in 1983, and it wasn't long after that we met Hubert and Dora and Roy Kinslow, Dora's dad. And of course he lived down in that brick house, and he had two dogs. One of them's name was, Buster. I can't read. Buster was some kind of, goodness, it's been eons ago, but maybe some kind of white pointed ear dog with maybe a brown spot or something like that. And Chuck was this pit bull, mostly black with brown markings and all that stuff. And Chuck was really playful. He was friendly, but he had a tendency to maybe be a little bit too playful at times and all that stuff. But, Chuck, well, he would hang down at Roy Kinslow's place, most of the time, who was his owner. And he would also walk down the road and hang around at our house, hang around at Hubert and Dora's cabin. He liked to, explore, all these different, neighborhoods down the road. And, well, I guess the roaming kind of dog. And, what made me think of Chuck tonight is, well, I had an accident, and figured I needed to do this video because after this video, if I show my face and you see my chin black and blue and maybe a black and blue spot on my nose, you'll know why. But, okay, what happened was, of course, I like, Twin Peaks and Knoxville, and, it's just kind of the type of person that doesn't really like to do a lot of sitting around anymore. So I thought, I would try out walking at a park nearby, which is called North Shore Park. And I walked it the other night, and I walked it tonight, and it's like this series of trails that, merge into all these directions, go around a hill, have pavilions up on the hill, all these driveways. It's kind of like a modular park in a way, but I was walking, down a trail, paved trail that, think, yeah, leads along the main, well, leads along North Shore Drive there, and of course I was walking along. It was dark out and all that stuff, and you know, all of a sudden I just tripped and fell, and I caught myself with my hands. Got a welt on my hands, a place where it scraped up. I just wiped some ointment on that, and also I was kind of flat on my face. I hit my chin, and my nose also touched the pavement, and so anyway, I mean, it just took me out of to total shock. And I investigated it, and the reason I fell is because, I mean, there's these trees growing along the paved trail, and what has happened is the roots from them trees have enlarged, and what they're doing is causing the pavement to bulge up. I mean, there's like a big crack on top of the pavement there, and it's bulging up. It's doing that and to all these, like, you know, different places. I didn't notice it at first, but I mean, it's kind of like Mother Nature's speed bumps, so to speak, since them bulges are caused by them roots growing underneath the trail. I tripped and fell over that, and anyway, that brought back the memory of Chuck. And I'll go ahead and, you know, get to the basis of what happened with Chuck, which was kind of similar. I mean, Chuck and Buster, Roy Kinslow's dogs, were hanging around at our place for some reason, and, you know, just kind of scavenging our yard or whatever. And I think, you know, Mom and Dad talked us into, like, you know, putting, you know, Chuck on a leash and putting Buster on a leash and walking them down County Road 90, back to their real home. And so anyway, we got Chuck on a leash, and we also got a Buster on a leash, and me and Jenica decided to walk them home together, and so anyway, we got like, you know, kind of halfway between Roy Kinslow's house and our house, and all of a sudden Chuck bolted. Seriously bolted. I mean, I was, you know, walking him on the leash, and all of a sudden, I mean, he, like, you know, just flabbergasted me. I mean, just, of course, I was holding onto the leash, and when he darted off, I mean, he pulled me right on my chin to the dirt road and the gravel, and, you know, don't remember what happened after that, but I do know Chuck literally pulled me down to the road where my chin, like, you know, had, you know, plopped real hard. And I had a big old scraped area on my chin. And so anyway, I mean, and it was embarrassing to go to school the next day with that big old welt on my chin. And one time I looked at my old, grammar school pictures, and 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 my class picture showed that, like, big old scraped welt right there on my chin, and I think, that could even be seen from the yearbook. On my picture in the yearbook as well, that big old scrape on my chin from Chuck pulling me down. Yes, but anyway, I mean, Chuck pulled me down. I had that big old scrape on my chin, and when I looked at my old school pictures years ago, that scrape was still visible right on my chin, and probably published in the yearbook that way. But that just kind of triggered a memory tonight. I thought I would share it with y'all, and have a good night.